back to my garden, and it seems to have turned into an early winter day again, so I haven't gotten as much done as I would like to have in my garden. But I know I said earlier on that I'm not great on keeping track of the names of plants in my garden, but I thought that you might be interested in some of the names, so I decided that I would pull out my old outline, and so I can give you a bit of a name of plants. So starting with this, which a friend of mine calls a ponytail plant, and I am not good at saying Latin names, so I'm going to stick to common names, and Robert can show you the Latin name on my post. This is weeping threadleaf Arborvitae, and this is its formal Latin name. And this plant is very slow growing. You can sort of tell that it doesn't need to be trimmed. If you do want to keep it in check, all you need to do is to cut off some of the new growth, which you can see we have a fair amount of that coming already this year. And you can also cut out dead wood out of the plant, which I really haven't ever found a whole lot of dead wood in this plant. It seems to like this spot quite a bit. So I think I've also said that I like unusual plants, and to me this is an unusual plant that you don't see too many times in too many gardens. So let's see if I can poke this into the ground. It's not going to cooperate too well with me, so I'll come back out and do that another time. This plant, you can see, has not liked the cold, so the flowers have pretty much all fallen over. They're just not liking this at all. Smactinia, I'm sure that's wrong, red-leafed. I planted it first in the back, but it didn't like the shade, so it's been moved out front. You can see this one. These are just a little bit different, same sort of species, and it's a five-fingered Aurelia, and I will show you again. Here is its Latin name if you want to see it. This plant says in the directions and everything online that it can take full shade, but it seems to like this spot very well. It can grow from 6 to 8 feet tall. I will keep it trimmed back so it doesn't get quite that big in my garden. We've looked at this tree before. It's a fringe tree, a white fringe tree, and this is its Latin name if anybody's interested. You will love seeing the blossoms on this as it gets warmer out. We've looked at this part of my garden before, but there's some plants here that are now really coming up. You're looking actually at a primrose. These are all primrose that have been spreading in my garden, and I like that. I looked up a little bit about this vine, which I like a lot, and it's purple winter creeper. And it took a long time to get established, but as you can see, it is extremely established now. In and around all of these plants, you will see something coming up that has a kind of a variegated leaf on it with green and purple. These are called painter's palette, and I love them. They'll get to be probably at least this tall, if you can see where I'm holding this. And then they get a very sort of slender strand that's a flower. If you don't cut the flowers off, I would have these in my yard and everywhere. This is a really quite sunny area of my back garden, So some of the plants here are doing very well. And the daffodils are blooming, and I really love these daffodils. I think the color is just so beautiful. Now, something that happens in a garden is that you sort of lose the soil. It just, I don't know, it feels like the plants are sort of eating it. This is a bit of a slope, so it's probably washing out as well. So here, I have put down some, not dirt, but compost, and I'm hoping that the plants will really like this compost. We'll see. I think we mentioned the Ligularia in this area, and now you can really see the purple leaves beginning to come. And I just think it's such a beautiful purple color. This is a hellebore in a little different location. And if you pan over this way, you'll see first a lot of primrose coming up, and then you'll see bleeding heart coming up as well. Again, I haven't been able to get this bed completely uncovered, and I know there's a lot of plants that are trying to grow under there, so hopefully tomorrow I'll get this done. Are several other bleeding hearts, and you can see they're beginning to bloom. The fire pit area, which not all the chairs and everything's back out here yet, but I really enjoy this part of my garden. And one plant that I'll point out to you before this is cleaned up and you can see more is right here. This is also a native plant. It's a meadow rue. It'll get very tall. I have several different kinds of meadow rue throughout my gardens that you'll see later, and I really like the plant. Little primrose that's in bloom, and I think is particularly beautiful. Next to it here on the ground, you will see a bleeding heart that has just come up here on its own, which I get lots of different places in my garden, and I like them, so unless they're encroaching on a path or something, I just let them grow. So you can see this is another wooded area. Ferns are beginning to pop up here and there as they plant themselves different places in my garden. All along here are hosta, which I really haven't uncovered yet, and if I don't get to it, they'll come up through the leaves. But I hope you're enjoying seeing the new plants that are coming up in the springtime, and that you're walking around your garden and looking to see what's